Today, you get access to day 4 of our 4-day ornament build event. If you missed out on day 3, I'm going to link that up here above, somewhere up here, so you can access that now. But regarding day 4, it'll be led by myself. We're going to be deep diving into Etsy titles and tags, where I'm going to be teaching you how to format and structure these two components of your offer, which are make or break at this point in the process. If you mess up your Etsy titles and tags, your products will show in the incorrect areas, which will either be very costly for ad spend, or it will lower your click-through rate and really just hinder the ability for you to push your business forward. So you don't want to miss a single moment of today's session. It will be jam-packed full of so much value. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on your notifications, because we have a lot more amazing content coming your way that you don't want to miss out on. So without further ado, let's jump into day 4 of the Ornament Build event, and let's deep dive into Etsy titles and tags. All right, so Etsy titles and tags, that's what we're going to start out this training with today. So the first thing I want to address is Etsy's kind of news around what they're doing with their titles and their focus of that. So this is pulled from AI with Etsy articles and things. I'm going to kind of go based on what I've seen and heard, and then I'm going to give you my take on everything from what I would say to do or change or not to change with your formatting. So Etsy's new guidance for titles and tags emphasizes clear, descriptive titles that directly state the item's name, moving subjective terms and search-oriented phrases like gift for him to the tags or attributes section. While you can still use keywords, the focus is now on writing easily scannable titles for buyer confidence and better algorithm understanding. Etsy also offers AI-powered tools for eligible listings to help you generate updated titles. Key changes to titles. Focus on clarity. Titles should be clear and concise. Describe the item itself. Number 2, move subjective aspirational keywords like beautiful, perfect, or aspirational searches like gift for him. They should be moved to tags or attributes, not the title. And then benefits of clear titles. Clear titles help buyers understand the product and feel more confident, improving their shopping experience. So this is what Etsy has to say and what AI has to say with scanning Etsy's new setup. Now, what I got out of all this, by the way, is there's not a massive change. Etsy's always, along with other platforms, always driven you towards a more standardized title, something where it's not like, people aren't keyword stuffing it and things like that. But from my own experience, from many different sellers' experience, from top sellers right now, their experience as well, with this change in place, I would take it not with a grain of salt. I would take some caution with it. But I wouldn't look back and say, oh no, I got to change all my titles and all my tags. I need to orient things differently. Nothing that Etsy said here is alarming. And I think it just kind of reinforces making sure you have the right keywords in place. This is something what I've talked about so often, which is relevancy, which we're going to be covering a lot today in this section. So as long as you're being relevant and you're describing your item that's actually based on search, I wouldn't be really concerned about it, and I would keep the same formatting. Unless something drastically shifts with your visibility, I wouldn't be worried about it. And so, top sellers like our coaches and many other 6- and 7-figure sellers that I know personally are not making major adjustments with Etsy's announcement. There's a lot of things out there with YouTubers and whatnot saying, oh, here's the new scary update. Don't be concerned about it. And if you see the impact, of course, you can adjust. But all that being said, don't be overly worried about what Etsy has done so far. So, all right. With that being said, the titles and tags importance. This is really, really important to anchor right away. So the potential of your POD business is no more and no less than the amount of search volume that you leverage as you're selling on a platform. Now, I've said that back on day 1. I will say it today. I will continue to say it forever, because if you're on a platform, that your potential lies in the customers coming to that platform and searching for items that you can offer. And that's just the basics of your business. So Etsy's title and tags are the main driving force to obtain visibility and drive rank for your products in search. So your ability to index and get in front of those buyers to drive rank and get visibility comes down to, predominantly speaking, your title and your tags. That's really what Etsy's utilizing to position you. This is why I wouldn't make massive changes, because if you take away a bunch out of your title, you might be hindering your ability to drive rank for certain terms. So that's where it's a little bit hard sometimes when Etsy throws out some confusing information. So again, this is the main driver for you. Titles and tags is like your vehicle. It's where you land in search, and it's how buyers are going to find you, predominantly speaking. Yes, Etsy has AI working and scanning your front photo, and yes, they have your attribute section, and yes, they actually look at your description. Yes, they look at all of that. But with that being said, at the end of the day, if a buyer comes to Etsy and they type something specific into the search bar and you have that in your title and or in your tags, you're going to be much better positioned to show up and drive rank for it. So it's very, very important. Now, with that being said, titles to tags to front photo relevancy. This is something I've talked about often in the past as well. There should be no breakage in relevancy. I know it sounds like a weird formatted way of saying words there, but there should be no breakage in relevancy with your titles, tags, and front photo / your design. They are all one and the same. And so if you note right here, that understanding with like any shift that Etsy's done as well, relevancy will always win. So when you're more relevant with what's actually being sold and you're not just trying to grab search volume only, you're able to show up in the right places and not have a breakage in relevancy. So your front photos and designs are the visual portion of your offer, while your titles and tags are the vehicle that allows the correct buyers to find your listings. So the phrases in your title, the phrases in your tags, and your actual front photo, which is your product, and your design itself are all one and the same. They should be exactly the same thing. So if you're just logically looking and saying, ooh, I don't know if that phrase in my title actually matches my item to a T, then I'll teach you some things to do with going and checking that, but you should most likely stay away from that if there is a breakage in relevancy. So relevancy over search volume. So it is okay to lose search volume in order to gain relevancy in return. But why? Again, I always emphasize this because it's so important. People might be saying like, why? You're telling me my business is no more and no less than the total amount of search volume I leverage. Shouldn't I be maximizing, the search volume I have? And you absolutely should, but that's why when you're going through the process from A to Z, doing it right, you're building a high potential product list, which is immediately solidifying these products are in demand based on a sales standpoint. And if they've sold, they absolutely have search volume. So what that means for you, your true north, once you actually find items that sell well and you've anchored what micro market it is that item's selling well in, now everything, your true north, should anchor back to that specific micro market from a keywording standpoint. So this directly impacts your click-through rate, your conversion rate, and your return on ad spend with Etsy ads. The broader you go, the more metrics will drop. Your click-through rate will go down. Your conversion rate will go down. Your return on ad spend will go up. So, will go down. It'll get more expensive. So all of that being said, if you have healthy metrics, Etsy will reward you by showing your product to more potential buyers by giving you rank. So this is why you find the items that are highly in demand, you get crystal clear on what's in demand, and then you completely revert to relevancy. All the terms in your title, all the terms in your tags should be the most relevant for that as possible. So you're getting a combination now of the demand, because the item's selling, people are obviously looking, but you're getting the right people to find it because your title, your tags, and your front photo are all one and the same, and it will really impact these metrics. Now, this is a slide from day one, and it's important to kind of visualize this right now. If someone comes onto Etsy and they type in engagement ornament map, or engagement ornament location, or engagement ornament coordinates, or a variety of other phrases of saying kind of the same thing, your item being that exact thing is much more relevant than if it was just an engagement ornament in general. So this is how you're going to kind of start to see it in play. Like you're going to start changing your keywords on purpose, or holding your keywords and deploying them. Another way I've explained this before is like, imagine you're rationing your keywords. Think of it this way. You're rationing them. You're like, okay, I know there's a lot of demand. I want to ration these keywords, and I only want to deploy them on the exact item at the exact right time. So rather than using them like, oh, this could kind of work for this item, no, let's hold on to that keyword. And when it really works for this item, based on what I'll teach you today, then you deploy it. And what's going to happen is you're going to get better click-through, better conversion, and better return on ad spend. And you're going to isolate your ad spend on the right phrases and the right keywords. So it's all connecting the dots for you. It's like connecting everything. You got to get everything, on the same page: titles, tags, front photo, conserve your keywords, ration them, and deploy them right when it matters most based on the micro market that you're selling in. Now, this is also another slide from day one, and it really drives this point home. So Every page in search on Etsy has background metrics that are dictating where each listing lands. And the major two metrics here that dictate where these listings are landing is click-through rate and conversion rate. So when you are defaulting to relevancy of what that micro market is and your keywords look more like this, if this was your item, you're going to have a much healthier click-through and a much healthier conversion rate, meaning you're going to be able to drive rank. And so when you're holding those keywords and you're rationing them and you're deploying them only on the listings you want to, and you do that over time on not just 5 listings or 20 listings, but eventually hundreds of listings, your metrics start to get really positive and you start driving rank all over the place. And you're landing in some lower competition areas. You're landing in some mid competition areas. You're landing in some even high competition areas. But the reason you're able to be successful in any of those areas you land in on Etsy is because you're actually relevant for those terms and you've conserved those keywords and you've deployed them at the right place and the right time. So this is a skill set to learn and to understand, but at a base level, don't overcomplicate SEO. Don't overcomplicate keywording. It's all one and the same with your item. Make sure you revert to relevancy once you know an item's in demand, and these metrics will start to take care of themselves. Okay, so first and foremost, product type keywords. We're going to start going through some different components to the process here. So product type keywords. These are consistently used universal base terms for a specific product type. Now, in this case, for ornaments, you might see ones like ornament, Christmas ornament, keepsake, and Xmas ornament. So certain product types have lots and lots and lots and lots of base product type keywords. Other product types, like an ornament, they don't really have that many base keywords. There's only so many ways people search for ornaments. But when you're talking like a tumbler, you might have like, tumbler, tumbler cup, travel mug, 40-ounce tumbler, tumbler with lid, tumbler with lid and straw, cup with straw. Like there's a lot more that happens in that market than there is in the ornament markets. And so you have to identify for whatever product type you're selling, there's going to be these universal base terms that you see over and over and over again on all of these best sellers. And if you've done your research enough and you've looked at enough titles and tags, you start to pick up on them before you even get to the process of keywording when you already have a product finished. And that's the beauty of the research process. As you really go through it and you're meticulously looking at listing after listing, studying designs and photos and offer tactics and pricing, by the time you get all the way to this point of keywording, you've already kind of found your base product type keywords. So it kind of happens naturally. But again, you want to identify those for the product type you're selling in. Now, with ordering your product type keywords, this is also important. So once you've identified what your product type keywords are, you should order them in the highest volume to lowest volume order. This will give you a good idea of which ones to prioritize over others, especially when you cannot see the data for them. So especially with ornaments, for example, like right now, what is it, like September 12th, I believe. Right now, there's not necessarily as much ornament search volume. Like on Etsy, if you go to the search bar, you're going to see a lot less. You're going to see some for sure. I'm not saying it's not there. But when you can't see and you're anticipating search volume that's to come, having these base product type keywords ordered in the right way of like knowing, okay, ornament is more searched for than Christmas ornament, and Christmas ornament searched more than Xmas ornament, and Xmas ornament searched for more than keepsake, and so on and so on. So you got to figure out what the formatting is, and your research will lead you to that. You'll figure that out if you're focused enough and you understand the relevancy of it. But with that being said, you really need to anchor down highest volume to lowest volume with your keywords. And with that being said, last thing I'll say on that is for other product types, when you have like a lot of keywords, let's say you have 12 plus product type keywords, like for tumblers, that's when it matters a lot. So when you're reverting to like, hey, I can't see what's happening, I'm gonna make an educated guess. Your educated guess will actually connect when the search volume does hit. Okay, next we have the keyword brancher tool. This is a tool we made back a handful of years ago that I use directly for my Etsy shops, and I've used it ever since. I've taught with it, and it really helps kind of map things out. So the keyword brancher tool is a framework to maximize and extend your keyword reach to ensure optimal visibility. So it covers what is the product, who is the product for, who is the product from, are there events for this product, and then is there any specific descriptors or alternative terms that I may have missed. And so when you're using this keyword brancher tool, which we will actually do together, you are using as a big brainstorming tool. It's not that you got to have everything perfectly right. You're going to check the data over on Etsy and make sure things align. But with that being said, the keyword brancher tool is a really good place to always start when you're keywording for a listing, so you can get your brain chugging along. Because a lot of times, if you don't start to lay things out, I personally like to use pen and paper. If you don't lay them out ahead of time, whether you use pen and paper or a Google Doc or a notes or whatever, you're gonna miss important keywords because you don't get it that idea generation happening. So again, what is the item? Who is the item for? Who is the item from? What events are this item for? And then are there any other descriptive terms that I may be missing based on my design or anything like that? Okay. Then you have competitor ranked terms. Now, the competitor ranked terms are this: the top 1 to 3 relevant ranked competitor terms for your high potential product. Check only top relevant competitors. Remember, rank equals sales. So when we talk about competitor ranked terms, some people get confused with this. What a ranked term is, the way in which you see one, first off, is you must be in a fresh incognito or private browsing window. If you are just going over on Etsy right now and you search a term and you see listings pop up on that page, and you see like right below the ad slots, you see like, listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those aren't necessarily actually ranked there because Etsy is always viewing you as a buyer. You're on the platform, you're browsing in search, you're looking around, all of that. And so everywhere you click, everywhere you look more in depth on, if you've been looking at one shop specifically, Etsy starts to think, oh, this person likes their product, so they're going to start showing you that shop more or that product more. And so their algorithm is geared in to get the right items in front of you. So the way you see the most realistic version of rank is going into a fresh incognito window or a fresh private browsing window where Etsy has no data stored on you as a buyer. And when you make a search in search on Etsy in incognito mode, you're seeing the actual realistic version of rank. And from a base standpoint, rank is based on sales velocity. Rank is based on click-through rate and conversion rate. If you have good click-through and good conversion, you get rank. Conversion and sales velocity is kind of like the cure-all. If your item sells more than the items around it, Etsy will reward you for that and it will push you up the page. So that means when you are checking a term, if you're unsure of a term that you're using and you're checking it in incognito mode, you should see, are they actually ranked for this term or not? And you'll be surprised about how often they're not actually ranked for that term. And people are, not even relevant to the product you're looking at that are showing up on that page. So it's really important to check the rank on relevant competitors. So with this, the process is, again, to go into incognito mode on Etsy. You're going to search for the phrase you're checking rank on. So let's say the example of grandparents gift. If you had maybe a grandparents ornament, a little hint at the product we're going to be doing. You're going to check if the listings ranked on the top of the page are relevant to your specific product. And typically speaking, a competitor will only be ranked for 2 or maybe 3 phrases that they've used in their title and their tag. So if I was to go into incognito mode right now and type in grandparents gift, what do you think that market would look like? Like, there might be ornament sellers out there that are selling a grandparents ornament, which is going to be the product we're going to be keywording today. And when you actually land in search in incognito mode for grandparents gift, this is what you're going to see, roughly speaking. So this is right below Etsy ads. You're seeing, again, as soon as you're right below the top 4, Etsy kind of moves ads around every once in a while. But as long as it doesn't say ad by Etsy seller, this is where they're actually ranked. And so in this case, we have a sign, we have a welcome mat, we have an embroidered sweatshirt, we have a coffee mug, we have a, not sure what that is, we have a name tag, we have a glass mug, we have another mug, we have another welcome mat, we have a frame, we have a plate, we have a little box. And so my point is maybe as we get closer to the season, if you had a grandparents ornament, that maybe grandparents gift would be a good term. But right now, especially, not a good term at all, because these are all ranked here based on sales history for that specific term. So people have found them through that term because they have it somewhere in their title and their tags. They've converted on it. They've gotten good click through and good conversion on that term, which has allowed these sellers to drive rank to these slots. And as you can see, though, there's no ornaments. And so if there's no ornaments, that's a red flag to you. That means don't use that term. Even if a bestseller with the ornament has used that term, it probably means stay away from it. They're ranked somewhere else. You got to find, where are they ranked then? If they're a bestseller or they have, hundreds of reviews or hundreds of favorites, then that means they've sold it, but where? And in this case, it's probably not right here. So this is why you always want to check where a competitor is actually ranked. Okay, and then last but not least, you have the Etsy search bar. So the Etsy search bar is real-time Etsy shopper search terms and search volume ratios. When you have one term above another inside of the Etsy search bar results, that term has higher search volume than the terms below it. So you can continue adding long tail search terms to generate additional results and use the Everbee extension to see estimated monthly searches. So you can see in this case, there's only a couple examples here, but if I type in grandparents gift, I start to get some suggested searches below that. And if I keep typing, it's either going to run out of nothing, like there's nothing left, there's no more like relevant searches there, or I start to generate more. So if I just type in grandparents, I'm going to have a lot more. If I type in grandparents gift, I'll have some. If I type in grandparents ornament, I might have a little bit less. And so you can keep playing the game and long tailing and seeing, are you continually seeing more terms? And then Everbee is giving you an estimate. Now, with the estimate that Everbee gives you, this is not anything against Everbee at all. The tools out there only have access to so much data. So with Everbee, this is predominantly just Google data. So this is more from Google Analytics. So this isn't necessarily just directly Etsy data, but it does transfer over. So when you're looking at these, the terms that pop up, first off, number one, think of them as a ratio. A ratio being the ones up top in the search bar that's popping up there. Those ones have more search volume, typically speaking, than the terms below. And then second to that, if you're caught up on a term like, should I use this one or should I use this other one? Like, I'm not sure which one to use. You can then revert to if Everbee has one that's showing way stronger. Like this one has 3,000 searches per month, and this other one is only showing for an estimated like 400. And so you could say, okay, probably go with the 3,000. So again, take the Everbee portion with a grain of salt, because how Everbee is pulling this data is not, super tied into Etsy, because Etsy doesn't release all this data for Everbee to utilize, but it's going to help you make those decisions when you're kind of unsure of what to do. Okay, so why this process specifically? So this kind of connects everything together. So first and foremost, product type keywords. With product type keywords, you are equipped with the base terms for your high potential product type to help you prioritize keywords and use the search bar effectively. It gives you kind of a starting point to work with in the search bar, checking your descriptive plus your product type keywords like, new grandparents ornament, new grandparents keepsake, new grandparents Christmas ornament, and starting to see what's happening in the search bar. Number two is the keyword brancher tool. This gives you the proper framework to effectively test and branch out your keywords where it matters most. Because you're getting that thought process going, you're checking what this item is, who this item's for, is there an event for this item, who's this item from, what are the descriptors, and you can start to load that baby up and then test them out into the search bar. Then you have relevant competitor ranked terms. This is solidified data on keywords you should be using if you can find a very relevant competitor that is a bestseller and you find exactly where they're ranked. That means they're selling through that term. And if your offer is better, even better there. Because again, if rank equals sales, that means you're probably going to be able to generate sales if you have that term phrase exact. And then last but not least, the Etsy search bar. This is real-time customer searches to help you make educated decisions with your products. So a little pro tip real quick. This is really important here. So not all products that you upload on Etsy will be an easy process when dialing in your keywords. However, with all 4 pieces of this framework utilized every time, you should feel confident in your work. And so the reason why I'm highlighting this is sometimes you'll have the search bar be abundant with a ton of keywords. Other times you'll go to use the search bar and not much is happening because maybe you're anticipating search volume that's coming and you got to rely heavier on your product type keywords. Sometimes you'll go and you'll find, 4 or 5 different competitor ranked terms from other top sellers. And you're like, wow, I found exactly where they're ranked. My design is better than theirs, or I think my design is super relevant. It could do well. So I'm going to utilize those terms. Other times you'll be like, I don't even know where the seller's ranked. And so when you're using this framework, collectively speaking, you're going to find one way or another, whether it's just with your product type keywords and your keyword brancher, or it's more heavy towards competitor ranked terms, or it's more heavy towards the search bar, you're going to be able to come up with a great title every single time if you use all 4 of these frameworks. Okay, I'm going to get a quick drink of water. Is everyone tracking? Let me know in the chat. Are you tracking along? Tracking, yes. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So Etsy title format. A few things to understand about Etsy product titles. So this, again, even with Etsy's adjustments, I would still focus in on this right here. So The first 4 words of your Etsy title are the most important. That's number one. So whatever your first phrase is, you got to deem that to be your highest search volume / most relevant term. It should be your most relevant phrase out of the mix. So a lot of times that's pretty easy. You don't have to overthink it. It could just be new grandparents ornament or first Christmas as grandparents ornament if that's what you're doing, and we'll look at that in a second. But usually that one's pretty cut and dry. It's like your main descriptive term and your main product type keyword, and you're good to go. Now, the importance of your title goes from the front to the back of your title. So with using those 140 characters that Etsy gives you, the front of your title is much more important than as you get further down. So the front is more important than the middle. The middle is more important than the back of your title. So the further along you get, those keywords get less and less impactful because Etsy has to prioritize keywords somehow, and so they're prioritizing the front end of your title more. Now, phrase exact is the most ideal way to format your title, meaning if you found exactly how customers are searching for items on Etsy, if you use it as a phrase exact search, meaning exactly what you saw like in the search bar, exactly what the buyer is searching for, it's ideal. You're not going to get it be phrase exact every single time, but it's ideal that you structure that in that way so you're that much more relevant for the algorithm. You don't have to be phrase exact for everything, but it's an ideal way to position your keywords. And then repeat standalone keywords are not bad. They're still not bad. It's okay if you repeat a keyword. Like the term ornaments is going to get repeated a lot of times inside of your titles and your tags, and that's a-okay. If you're getting some more phrase exact terms out of it, you're good to go. So it's fine if you have repeat standalone keywords. And then long tail your keywords when possible. So anytime that you find a good solid descriptive term with maybe a base product type keyword, if there's a good way to long tail off of that, like with the term personalized or a date, or maybe it continues on into a brand new keyword as well. If you can long tail, you're going to become even more relevant and grab even more search volume. And then real estate over readability. I still stay on this. And the reason why I'm standing firm with this is I don't want people to revert to thinking, okay, I got to keep my title like super basic and just focus on the readability only. And with Etsy's changes, I'm going to go that way because I do believe that a lot of sellers will end up missing out on a lot of search volume if they're just sitting there isolating too narrow. So that's kind of the setup to your Etsy title. Now, your Etsy tags format. First off, you have 13 tags to use with a maximum of 20 characters per tag. Use all of your 13 tags. Etsy gives you 13 for a reason. Maximize them. Sometimes it's difficult to hit all 13. We'll talk about that and look at that here in a minute, especially when you have a longer phrase, which is one that we actually do have with the product we're going to be doing today. But you need to maximize all 13. You can come up with 13, I promise, and you can come up with 13 relevant ones as well. Now, you want to hit your descriptive terms plus your product type keywords in your tags pretty much ASAP. So if you're able to, I know, again, that 20 character limit will get in your way sometimes, but if you're able to, like if you had, for example, a Mimi ornament, that'd be one that you could totally fit all of your main product type keywords with your descriptive. You would start your keywording process out with, in this case, Mimi ornament. There's one tag. Mimi Christmas ornament. There's tag 2. Mimi keepsake. There's tag 3. Mimi Xmas gift or Xmas ornaments. There you go. You're going to hit those right away. And so you want to hit those main base product type keywords with your descriptive terms for whatever product type you're selling in. First and foremost, if you're able to, it's going to help you show up in the areas you want to show up with. And then once again, phrase exact is ideal. So you want to be phrase exact inside your tags as well. If you're seeing it in the search bar and it fits and you're like, yes, this is a phrase people are searching for, put it in your tags exactly as it stands. Next, broad tags can be costly for your business. And costly for your business is more than just the actual cost of the ad spend in this case, but it's also costly because it hinders your ability to drive rank. It lowers your conversion rate. It lowers your click-through rate. Again, it makes your ad spend more expensive. So stay away from broad tags. The more that happens on Etsy, the more and more I think you should be relevant. Like that's where the gold sits, is in these relevant terms. And then use the relevant competitor rank terms in your tags as well. So if you find main terms that they're ranked for, absolutely 100%, you should be using them probably in your title and your tags if possible. And then repeating title terms can increase visibility for that term. So like if you use it in your title, like, oh, I don't want to double down on that. No, you should actually double down on this. And this is where you can basically put more weights on a phrase if it's in both your title and your tags. Etsy's algorithm is going to say, okay, that seller is more relevant for Mimi Christmas Ornament 2025. Don't think that would fit. We'll just say Mimi Ornament 2025 if you had a Mimi ornament. If you had it in both your title and in your tags, because in that case, you're showing up twice for it. So that is a good thing to do. You should double down on the keywords or the phrases that you've deemed to be the most important. All right, guys, real quick, if you're getting a lot of value out of this training and you really want to take your business to the next level, I have something super special for you. So there is a link in the description below where you can apply to work one-on-one with our active 7-figure Etsy print-on-demand coaches. Right now is the absolute best time frame of the entire year to invest in your business and to double down on growth. And the reason for this is due to the massive rise in search volume and the massive rise in conversion rate during the months of October, November, and December. So when you take the leap right now and you begin working hand in hand with an active 7-figure Etsy print-on-demand coach, your results can absolutely explode during the Q4 season. You can maximize the revenue and profit you are generating in your business and come into 2026 much better positioned at 3, 4, 5 times the level you're sitting at today. So I can't implore you enough. If you're going to take the leap at some point in time over the next few months, this is the time frame to do it. During the season where conversion is at a 2.5x level, where search volume is at a 15 to 20x level, when things are popping off the charts, this is the time to double down and make it happen. So if you are ready to take your business to the next level, like I said before, I can't encourage you enough. This is the time frame to do it. It's the easiest time frame out of the entire year. The link is in the description below. You can apply there and you'll get a overview video sent to you if you are approved for our coaching program. And the last thing I want to share with you is that registration will officially close on October 1st, and anyone who applies after October 1st will be moved on to a wait list for when registration reopens at some point inside of 2026. Okay, keyword brancher example time. So we're going to have some fun here. Let me escape out of this screen share or this view here. What we're going to do is we are going to be doing this. I'll zoom in a little bit here. I don't want to give away anything because there's stuff on the next slide, so I got to be careful with this. We're going to be doing the keyword brancher tool live for this beautiful design that Jesse G made live yesterday. I love this design, by the way. I know you guys did too. But we're going to go ahead and go through this process, starting out with the keyword brancher tool, which is where I think you should always start when you're doing, before you start your title and before you start your tags, you should always start with the brancher tool to get your mind thinking. So we're going to utilize the chat, and we're going to, I'm going to have you guys help me out with this process. With that being said, I'm seeing a comment, talking very fast. I'm sorry, I only have one mode and it's very fast usually, so I'll try to slow down a little bit. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we'll do this together using the chat, and then I've already built out one as well below it. So we're going to compare and see, did you guys cover all of the brainstorming on these? And did you find additional ones that maybe I missed as well? So let's go for this. Let me move the chat over here. Okay. I love how fast you talk for what it's worth. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Okay, great. All right. So with this, the what is your product type keyword. So if you guys could let me know in the chat what you believe the product type keywords, those are the universal base terms for ornaments. What are they specifically? Let me know in the chat. So we got ornament. There's one. Let's see what else we got. So we're focusing on, again, in this case, yeah, keepsake. Thanks, Edwin. This is like your base keywords. This would be universal no matter what your design is. It's your base product here. What is this? Again, we'll get into the descriptive side in a second. Christmas ornament, great. Christmas ornament. Okay, we got Christmas gift, potentially. Ceramic ornament, there's a good one. I missed that one. There you go, ceramic. Oops, don't know how to spell. Never been known for my spelling, by the way, guys. Anytime you guys get to see me spell live, this is probably the most nervous I get is when I have to type in front of you guys. Custom ornament, family ornament. Okay, let's see. So again, circular ornament, that could absolutely be round ornament. So yeah, these are ones too. I love this, like circular ornament, round ornament. These are ones we'd want to kind of check and look in the search bar, see what everybody is, projecting it at, test it out with different descriptive terms, see if it's actually working. So we got ornament, we got keepsake, we got Christmas ornament, ceramic ornament. Xmas ornament is definitely one more. I think someone might have dropped it in there. Gift. Gift is always a product type keyword. Now, this one I have like caution. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to just highlight this bad boy. Actually, we'll just go bold, and we'll go in the color ICP blue. So we want to be cautious with this. Let's get back over here. Sorry. Get off of that. No. What are we doing here? There we go. The reason why I'm highlighting the term gift is because I want you to be very careful with that term. There's more often than not, when you check in search on Etsy, if you actually went into incognito mode and you've checked rank, gift is very difficult to drive rank for a lot of times, not always. And if you hit a home run and you get like something selling underneath the term gift, so let's say it's like grandparents gift, you're going to sell a lot, like a lot, but be cautious with that term is what I'd have to just lead with. Okay, great. So we got some of our base ones down, and now we'll get into some of our more descriptive. So if you guys were to answer this, who do you think this item is for right here? So we're looking at the design. Who is this item specifically for? It's for grandparents. Okay. Mom, papa, dad, parents, nana, papa. Yes. So I'm gonna pause too. It's actually really good. I'm loving these responses. So the be careful of certain things. So the Nana and Papa. So I definitely get where you guys are coming from. She's like, hey, I see Nana and Papa right there. So when Jessie was doing this yesterday, she's doing it for Our First Christmas as grandparents. That's the micro market, and she put Nana and Papa. These are all personalizations, so they could change it out to Mimi, Gigi, Pops, Papa Bear, or Papa Hedgehog, I guess, or their actual names. But be careful with that, because when you're looking at like the market itself, let's say you typed in Nana ornament or Papa ornament, you're probably not going to see these. So just be careful with the usage of those terms. So just separate in your mind out search volume, relevant search volume, and the actual descriptive side to the design details and things like that. So just be careful of that. So we got grandparents, we got, let's see, grandfather. Yep. So that's definitely one there. So we'll zoom out a little bit here. We got grandfather. We got grandma. I'm sure you guys probably dropped some of these in here. I'm just assuming. I didn't see them in full. Grandpa. Granny. Grandmother for sure. So notice how I'm sticking in this case to these ones. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. With the keyword rancher tool, brainstorm as many terms as possible, but be careful with ones like granny or Nana or Mimi or Gigi, because this specifically says First Christmas as grandparents. So that's the base of the micro market. Through personalization, they can choose any name they want there. But from a keyword standpoint, we're going to be sitting one notch outside of that, which is with grandparents, grandfather, grandma, grandpa, grandmother, because that's the overarching search terms for this category. So just be careful with that. Okay. Now we will continue on. So who's this from specifically? Who's it from? Let's see. We got new grandpa. Nice job on that one. That's super relevant here. New grandpa. New mom. Be careful with that one. Again, new mom would be new grandma from a search term standpoint. New grandma. Baby's parents, auntie, son. Definitely. Oh wait, here, hold on. Let's see. From. Oh, this is from. My bad, guys. I'm all confused here. We're gonna grab these. These are actually really good for right here. For. There we go. New grandpa, new grandma. Those are really good. The new term. This is like isolate that. Like that's gonna be really helpful to check in search. So on the from side though, we got son. Absolutely, from a son, from a daughter. Who else would this one be from? Our First Christmas as grandparents. So someone's gifting this, probably. So it's from a son, it's from a daughter, from a grandchild, maybe. So we could type that in just as something we'll check. We'll go grandchild. We'll go friend. Let's see, daughter-in-law, spouse, aunt, uncle. So these are all great ones we can check. I'm not going to type all these in. You guys got, I love that you're participating. Thank you so much. Thank you for dumping these in. That's great. Perfect. So we got grandchild. We got son, daughter. Let's see. We got children or kids. This would be some others. All right. And then what events is this for? Let me know the event. What event would this specifically be for? Christmas. Absolutely. Definitely for Christmas. Number one. Love it. Birth announcement. So we'll go announcement. There's my spelling again. Man, if I didn't have autocorrect or spell check, I would be a mess. If you guys ever see misspelled words in my slides, you'll know why. Reveal, love it. Reveal. Baby shower, love it. Super good. Welcome gift, holidays, engaged, baby birth. Okay, so we'll go. We got Christmas, we got announcement, we got reveal, we got baby shower, welcome gift, name, gender reveal. That would be a good thing. Yeah, so I think overall we got some of the base ones in there. Again, we'll check these out in a minute. And then descriptive terms. What descriptive terms would align with it? So when we're talking about descriptive, we're talking about specifically on this ornament, what could we highlight that might be important from a search standpoint? Let me know. Hedgehog. Hedgehog. We can check that. We have Santa hat. Santa hat. Animal. So again, in this case, there's no right or wrong answer. These are great. Watercolor. Let's see. And it may or may not translate. We'll have to just check it out. Personalized, super good. That's a big one. Guaranteed that one has search volume. Stars. Family. Custom. Nice job. You want to be careful. A lot of times we get stuck on the term personalized for whatever reason, and we forget about the term custom. Custom gets used a lot out there. Date. Good job. Date. Unique. That's one a little bit too broad. Names. Yep. So name, date, 2025. Nice job. And then we got Christmas already. Our first Christmas. Good job. Okay, so that's actually really good. Our first Christmas. Okay. Let's see. Woodland. We can check woodland if we needed to. I may not check all these, by the way, just so you guys know. When we're actually looking, I might cherry pick these out because there's be a lot to check. Grandparents, we already got that in the other one, so we want to repeat that. Baby's first Christmas, we'll conserve that. Again, we're going to ration our keywords and deploy them on certain ones. We're going to say baby's first Christmas. Cute could actually literally align like a cute first Christmas as grandparents ornament that might actually be searched for. One thing here is established. That one's on my next slide, but I'll just give it to you right there. Someone might have said it. So yeah, I think at this point we have a really good setup. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to keyword with like 300 other people live with you every single time? It'd make your life really easy. I've definitely had sessions and seasons where I've worked like myself and someone else, we keyword together because you can brainstorm. And so that's been really, really helpful at times. We don't all get that gift though all the time. So here's what we got together. And then here's what I isolated personally. So we'll look at this. So I had ornament, Christmas ornament, keepsake, Xmas ornament, 4 new grandparents, grand space parents, grandma, grandpa, and then the same thing duplicated over with new grandma, new grandpa. Who's it from? Daughter, son, kids, children would be another one. What event is this for? It is for an announcement, a reveal, a promoted to, a soon to be, grandparents to be. Those are all actual terms that I could just remember off the top of my head. That's the beauty of keywording. You start to pick up on things over time. Descriptive, we have first with the 1 ST, first with the full spelling. Then we have personalized, custom, name, date, year, hedgehog, stars, established. So with this being said, that's where I would start personally. And I might, when I'm going through the process, like you might naturally see other terms that you missed. You're like, oh shoot, I should probably, add that on there and see if I can deploy this in my title and in my tag. So we're going to work with this. Now, when you're going through the process, what I like to do again is I start with my keyword brancher tool first and foremost. This is my starting point. Once I filled it out, I immediately go to the Etsy search bar. So I spend more of my time with the keyword brancher and the search bar validating what I think is right than I do at looking at competitor ranked terms. Just so you guys know, competitor ranked terms is like a last checkpoint and is something that you kind of want to just make sure you didn't miss anything. But if you're thorough with this, you actually tend to hit all of these high volume relevant terms because you're verifying it with the Etsy search bar. And if you need to, you can go into incognito mode and check. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this live here for a minute. So we're going to move into the live titles and tags. So I'm going to go over here. Let me know in the chat. Can you guys see my Etsy screen right now? It says first Christmas as grandparents ornament up here. Yes. All right. On it. Love it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and grab this out. So we're going to start with a blank title. And we're going to go through this process live here. So I'm going to open up another window and I'm going to move Zoom's little bar out of my way. That's always in my way. I think it's in everyone's way at all times. And we're going to just put that over here for now so I have access to it later. Okay. So we can search for anything. Now, what I do is I'm going to then also look at my keyword brancher tool. So I want to utilize this with the search bar. So they work hand in hand. So I'm going to reference these. If I start using these terms, I'm going to highlight them or erase them off my list even so I know I've used them. And then I can always go back and change it later. When you're doing your title and you're doing your tags, it is a working file, basically. Think of it that way. Nothing's finalized yet until you hit publish, and you can always go back and change it. But as you're working through it, you might have your title set up a certain way and then say, hey, I actually think there's a better angle because I saw something else in the search bar. So all right, so our main thing here, our first Christmas as grandparents and new. So I think my two starting points, is naturally speaking, would definitely be, I already copied this one, first Christmas as grandparents. That's one I like right out of the gates. Right now, we're not going to see a tremendous amount of search volume yet because it's not November and it's not December. But you can see we have first Christmas as grandparents ornament, first Christmas as grandparents Christmas ornament, first Christmas as grandparents photo ornament, ding, ding, ding. Prime example of when you can be in the same micro market with different designs. And in this case, you could have a first Christmas as grandparents and specifically have a design with a photo of the grandparents. So that's cool. Or with the baby or whatever. So with that being said, sometimes you get product ideas too. But first Christmas as grandparents ornament and Christmas ornament are showing up. That's great. I want to try new grandparents ornament. And as I'm typing, you're going to see Etsy's changing things up. So new grandparents, make sure I didn't spell that wrong. New grandparents ornaments. Notice, let me just actually try this before I move too far. Yep. So in this case, I got a drop off. Like it went away. Before, when I was looking at this term, first Christmas as grandparents, I get ornament, Christmas ornament, photo ornament. So naturally speaking, there's more happening here. And I'm seeing some of my product type keywords, which leads me to feel, okay, there's actually more happening right away with this term. And this is definitely my most relevant term as it literally sits on my actual ornament itself. It literally says our first Christmas as grandparents. So I'm going to start out with that. Our first Christmas as grandparents ornament. Now, you could just stop here and like do a comma or do a dash. I'm weird and I do dashes. I'm technically taking up keyword real estate, but I like to separate things out. Or we could be long tailing. So remember, we want a long tail when possible. So we have phrase exact, first Christmas as grandparents ornament, and we could long tail off that. What if we did like, now if I isolate this term, so look, first Christmas as grandparents. Now if I isolate this term, grandparents ornament, and I copy it, and I go back over to Etsy, I can look at grandparents ornament. Let's see. Grandparents ornament laser, grandparents ornament personalized. Notice there's search volume right now as it says grandparents ornament personalized. So that's a beautiful scenario there where all I have to do is add on the term personalized. And I actually just grabbed first Christmas as grandparents, first Christmas as grandparents ornament, and then grandparents ornament and grandparents ornament personalized. So I actually have a lot of phrase exact immediately. So little additions like this, if you're actually seeing it, can be super impactful when you're leveraging that search bar. Let's see here. We could still stop. Let me keep looking. What if we did like, what if we could keep long tailing? First Christmas as grandparents ornament personalized. Let's go back over here. First Christmas as grandparents personalized keepsake personalized. What if I did? Okay, let me test this out. You guys are gonna hear my brain churning while we're doing this. Keepsake for grandma passing. That's sad. Not what we're looking for there. Keepsake for grandma. So we have keepsake for grandma right here. So that's great there. So keepsake for grandma. So now we're taking it even further. We're keeping things flowing. First Christmas as grandparents ornament personalized keepsake for grandma. Boom, like that. So now we have first Christmas as grandparents ornament personalized keepsake for grandma, keepsake for grandma. Love it. We're staying super relevant. We're anchoring to this micro market. Let me go over to my keyword brancher tool and let's start highlighting these. So we've used ornaments. So we'll go blue for that one. We've used keepsake, blue for that one. We've utilized, let's see. We did first with the spelling this way, so we haven't done it the other way yet. We have personalized already, which is great. And then, yeah. So let me just check real quick. I have no idea on this one. I'm going to check Hedgehog. I don't think it's going to pop up, especially right now. Maybe as we get closer to the season. Hedgehog Ornament, family of 7, big brother, first Christmas, married. Hedgehog Ornament. So we're going to go grandparents ornament, actually. Grandparents ornament. Hedgehog. That'd be really crazy. So it's not there. So again, what is the hedgehog in this case? The hedgehog is not search volume, it's value. So like when Jessie was walking through the training yesterday and she was looking at like which animals am I going to use, she knew she had like a storage bank in her mind and with her KDA vision board where she happened to know that certain animals do well. And the hedgehog was a scenario where it's actually something that was underutilized in that market. She focused it on there. So that's value, not search volume. Understand to differentiate the two. You can still always check like I just did, but there's not really much for hedgehog there. So all right. First Christmas as grandparents, ornament, personalized keepsake for grandma. Let's see what else we got here. Let's keep looking along. Grandma. Well, we could, I wonder if keepsake for grandma and grandpa. No, I was just going to see if it was there. I might throw it in there just because I'm remembering it right now, and I might take this out later, but I'm going to keep that there because it is for grandma and grandpa. The search volume is really sitting for grandma, not really happening for grandpa, but that's a-okay. We didn't see anything. I'm just going to double check. Keepsake for grandpa. Yeah, no, it's still not really happening. Okay, so that's fine. We're gonna keep it there because that's very relevant. And during the season, I'm sure people will be searching for keepsake for grandma and grandpa. And if not, we have keepsake for grandma, phrase exact. Okay, so I think that is pretty good. Can we do anything else? First Christmas as grandparents ornament, personalized keepsake for grandma and grandpa. Naturally, I'm just thinking 2025. Just like boom, get that in there. I could look and see if I can use that later. If I need to, if I find a specific descriptive phrase that has 2025 in it and it is good, then maybe I'll use it. But let's see. So now let's go back over here. So let's look at our keyword brancher tool. So we have grandma. We have grandpa. Do I not have the word new yet? Nope, I don't. Okay. So that's immediate, like popping off in my head of like, I should probably use new. Because that's like a big portion there. Here's who it's from, announcement, reveal, promoted, soon to be. Okay, we're gonna start with new grandparents. So we got new grandparents ornament right away, new grandparents gifts. Let's have some fun here. Let's search that one. New grandparent gifts. So again, I showed you the grandparents one, but I didn't show you the new grandparents one. So like if you're ever curious, like should I use this term or not? Etsy's showing it has good search volume. It's prioritized on the top there when I type in new grandparents. If I go here, I'm gonna go new incognito window. Let me know in the chat. Can you guys see my incognito window? I just want to make sure you guys can see everything I can see. So I'm not just off of my own window and you guys can't see it. Okay. Perfect. Amazing. All right, so we're going to paste that in there. So new grandparent gift. So I don't know, is this good or not? So I'm going to search it. It's always important to search brand new, fresh incognito window, and then we'll see. So I'm skipping add by Etsy seller because they're paying for their placement here. Down below, we have a bottle of wine or a sticker or something. We have the mug, picture frame. We do have an ornament right there. It's a bestseller, and it looks like, is it an ad buy? No ad buy. So they're ranked number 5. That's good. And they're a bestseller. Okay, well, that's actually a pretty good indicator there. No more ornaments there. No more ornaments there. No more ornaments there. Way down here there is. So we got this one too. Okay, so we have 2 ornaments on page 1. There's now 3, 4 as we get further down. So you got to remember, again, the skill set, it takes a while to develop because I'm thinking of multiple things down my head. I'm thinking, okay, there is a bestseller ranked all the way in the 5th slot right now, and they're an active bestseller, and it's only September 12th, which then makes me think, okay, if I'm seeing a few more that is further down the page, if we get into October, November, December, what would be the probability that new grandparents gift would probably skyrocket? And I'd say yes. So I might actually use this one. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this just because I'm seeing that one ranked number 5. So I'm going to close out of that. We're going to go back over here and we're going to go new grandparents gift. So new grandparent gifts. So that's 50-50. Now notice my more relevant terms are still stacked in the front. Ornament is more relevant than keepsake, and keepsake is more relevant than gifts. So notice how I'm keeping things oriented towards the front of my title in a way that's leveraging my product type keywords better while hitting a bunch of descriptive phrase exact terms. So new grandparents gifts. Let me just check that one over here. Was there anything else with that? New grandparents gift to personalized 2025. There's not really much happening there though. Okay, let's see. What about, let me check my, so we got reveal, promoted, soon to be. Let's try new grandparents to be. No. What about grandparents to be? So notice, like sometimes it takes a second, especially once you get in the keywording flow. Like if you're in a flow and you're not explaining to people while you're doing it, and you get like 3 or 4 designs in, you start to get faster and faster. So just know it shouldn't take you like an hour to do a set of title and tags. You should probably get into intervals of doing it like within like 15 or so minutes. It's a skill that over time you'll get dialed in. So grandparents to be, that one's nice there. Grandparents to be. 621. What if I spaced it? Grandparents to be. So let's see if people are searching that way. Nope, they are not searching that way. They're spelling it how they should be. Okay. Parents to be. Gifts again. Grandparents to be gifts is immediately more relevant. Oh wait, no, wait, what I have before. New grandparents gifts. I guess maybe not. Let's check it. We're on live. Let's do it. Grandparents to be gifts. So let's just have some fun. Let's see if that one's any different in incognito again. Let's go new incognito window, over to Etsy. Grandparents to be gifts. Okay, we're seeing some of the other listings. There's a different ornament, but not the other. That's actually funny. The other ornament disappeared. There's a glass ornament right there. Let's see. Not much. It actually looks like the other term is better. I saw more ornaments, and this one though is ranked, but it's not a bestseller right now. So that kind of solidifies for me. I like the other term I have better. So I have new grandparents gifts. Okay. I'm just gonna go like this to save some time. New grandparents. Let's go grandparents to be. Let's see. What if I went? I'm thinking. You guys get to see me in action right now, thinking through. Grandparents to be first Christmas ornament, maybe. Let's try that. First Christmas as grandma. So notice like there's so many ways when people search for things. Like I'm really trying to zero in on the ones that like maybe it's a little bit better. Again, people like grandma for some reason more than they like grandpa. Really interesting. First Christmas as grandparents. It does show that way. So again, this is first versus first. And we can see that first clearly, notice the difference, guys, like just giving you guys insight. That clearly has more demand. So people are really searching for that over this all day long. And you can just immediately see the search bar change, which is insightful because now I have, things to work with this one. So first Christmas is grandparents. Okay, great. Still at the end of my title. Let's see, new grandparents to be first Christmas ornament. So someone said I saw women live longer. And then interesting. True, very true. Okay. New grandparents gifts, new grandparents to be. Let's just try new grandparents to be. And let's try first. That's going to cut that off pretty quick. I really like that one. Okay, so we're going to keep that. All right. So we have, let me double check my title so I'll save you guys some time of the tedious stuff because we got to get to tags as well. We still have a lot to cover. So first Christmas as grandparents ornament, personalized keepsake for grandma and grandpa 2025, new grandparents gifts, new grandparents to be. There's a spacing there. So I'm going to put them together because I didn't see much search volume happening with the spacing. So I've utilized most of my terms here and I've hit a ton of phrase exact. Once again, not to be repetitive, but I do want to cover it one more time. First Christmas as grandparents, there's 1. First Christmas as grandparents ornament, there's 2. First Christmas as grandparents ornament personalized, there's 3. Phrase exact. Grandparents ornament personalized, there's 4. Grandparents, then we got ornament personalized, then we got personalized keepsake for grandma by itself, and then keepsake for grandma and grandpa 2025. New grandparents gifts, which is high search volume, a little bit less relevant because we have gift, and then new grandparents to be. Let's not capitalize the P there. And then let's go double check our keyword branches. So we hit, let's see, to be. So we got grandparents to be right here. So we did get that one. That's good. You're not always going to hit all these, by the way, and we'll try to scoop up a few more maybe in our tags as well here in a minute. We did get new grandparents. That's good there. Perfect. And then Christmas ornament. Did we not hit Christmas ornament though? See, if I was going to make any fundamental change, I might make that right now. I'm not going to do it, but I might want Christmas ornament phrase exact in this case so I could drive rank easier for both. Something to note there, but it is what it is. So I'll continue on down. Okay, so we got those ones. We got that. Let's move down to our tags. So I'm happy with that for now. I might make some finalized adjustments, but we'll check out this first. Okay, so now down to our tags. So before I do anything else, I always want to hit my main descriptive terms with my main product type keywords. Now, the problem with this one is my main descriptive term is massive. First Christmas as grandparents, ornaments, keepsake, gift, etc. That's not going to fit. I automatically know. So I have to make a decision right out of the gate if I'm going to split that up a little bit. And I think I'm going to because I do want to put some weight on first Christmas as grandparents and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with first Christmas, and I'm going to go as grandparents. Now, I could overlap this too. I could do first Christmas, Christmas as grandparents, but that might not actually fit. But first Christmas as grandparents. And I also want first Christmas this way as well, because I missed that in my title. And I know during Christmas, people are going to search that. So first Christmas as grandparents, first Christmas. Cool. So I got that. Now, grandparent ornament. So that's one I can hit immediately. Grandparent ornament. I'm going to try new grandparent. I don't think this is going to fit. I think I'm going to run into it. This is why we got a hard one for you right here. That's why I'm doing one live, because you're going to run into this all day. And you're like, man, I only have 20 characters. That's just give me 25 and I'd be a happy camper. So new grandparent ornament does not fit. So I could do new grandparents. I could absolutely do as a standalone. New grandparents. Because you got to remember, people are going to search like new grandparents ornament. And so that's great. I have grandparent ornament, new grandparents. Perfect. Now, one thing to note is Etsy will allow you to index and drive rank whether you have the plural or singular version. So don't overcomplicate that, and definitely don't like double down on all your keywords with plural and singular, because you're just going to waste the real estate of that. You might have a minor edge with it being plural, but Etsy will make it plural for you. So don't worry too much about plural versus singular as much here. Let's see. Grandparents gift could be new grandparents, grandparents Xmas, grandparents, yeah, grandparents. Whoa, there's my spelling for you. Grandparents Xmas ornaments. So we got that. Let's see. Grandparent keepsake. Did I get that one? Grandparents. So again, I'm trying to hit my main product type keywords. Grandparent keepsake. Perfect. So I'm hitting all these. Let's see. Do I have, let's see, grandparents. It's looking. So here's one I will use immediately. Personalized is one I will always use as a standalone. The reason why I use personalized as a standalone, some of you guys might remember this, but it's a term where I don't have to worry about like being too broad with Etsy, because no one comes to Etsy, goes to the search bar, and just types in personalized by itself. So it's more likely just to be paired with all of these different phrases I have in my tags there. Okay, so we have first Christmas as grandparents, first Christmas, grandparent ornament, new grandparents, grandparents Xmas, grandparent keepsake, personalized. Let's see. What about new grandma? Oh, come on, this has got to fit. New grandma ornament. Oh, it fits. New grandma ornament. I'll take it. And let's do new grandpa ornament. So I'm still... Notice how I'm sticking as close to my relevancy, the relevancy for this item as possible. And I'm getting actually new grandpa ornament, new grandma ornament. That'll be really good. So do I have grandparents to be? I don't know if that's going to fit. Grandparents to be? Ha, yes. Grandparents to be. Let's check Etsy for this one. Grandparents. Yeah, so grandparents to be is right there. So that's great. Grandparents reveal. Grandparents reveal is a big one, especially during Christmas. That's going to be great. Grandparents reveal. So I'm scooping up some of the ones I missed. I got one left. So I got first Christmas as grandparents, first Christmas, grandparent ornament, new grandparents, grandparents Xmas, grandparent keepsake, personalized, new grandma ornament, new grandpa ornament, grandparents to be, grandparents reveal, And then, okay, the hedgehog is a tough one. I'm seeing some comments. I'll actually get back to these in a second. Grandparents' gift could be, and I liked, what was the one I liked? It was this one right here. New grandparents' gifts. So that one is going to be too long for sure. I think I already tested that. But let's see what we have here. I think grandparents' gifts is what we'll have to go with. Let's try that. Yep, it's too big. So we'll go grandparents' gifts. So we'll just save some time again, not to keep you guys staring at me spinning in circles for too long. But all of this being said, without even really checking competitor rank terms, which we can look at here in a second, I'm happy with that right away, where I'm like, okay, all of those terms are relevant. I'm seeing them all in the search bar. If I showed up for them, I'm assuming my click-through rate will be strong. I'm assuming my conversion rate will be strong if my design's actually good. And in this case, my design's great. It's going to stand in those micro markets and do really, really well. So really happy with that. Now, if I needed to go check any competitors, this would be the process. I'll just do it for one single one here so I don't go too in depth with taking too much time away. But we go to Etsy right now in incognito. So you have to start in incognito, and then we're going to move back to normal mode. So I'm going to go, my main micro market is first Christmas as grandparents ornament. So that's my main micro market. So that's what I'm going to search for because I want to see. Now, in this case, we have, there's the bestseller right here. This one's ranked number 1. This one's a bestseller here. So I can grab these. I'm going to grab the URL, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bounce over into my normal browsing mode, and I'm going to search it now so I can utilize Everbee's extension. So I can go analyze listing here. And I can see, so first off, 20 plus views are in the last, few hours. So that's good. 15 sales estimate or last day. We got grandkid ornament, first grandchild, first Xmas baby, grandpa ornament, grandma ornament, family ornament, first Christmas gift, grandparent ornament, grandparents, gift, new grandparents, gift for grandma, new grandparents. Did I miss that? New grandparents. This is why you check, because it keeps you anchored. Do I have new grandparents? New grandpa, grandparent gifts. New grandparents, standalone, everybody's estimating 1,000. So I'm almost willing to go that route. So I'm going to go new grandparents. Now I can check. I'm not saying, oh, it's already there. You guys are probably telling me in the chat. It's already there. Okay, maybe I did have it. So that's good. That's good. Let's see. Grandma, grandpa gift, new baby ornament. So just for understanding, like let's just cherry pick one out, like family ornament. This one right here, let's copy that, family ornament, and then it has 3,700 searches here. First Christmas gift is another one. I'll check both of those because there's a lot of search volume, but this is where I want you to be careful. So if I go here to Etsy, and I go in incognito, and I search family ornament. Oh, Etsy can see my most recent searches there. Do you see that? That's not good. Let's go back. Let's go here. Let's go new incognito window again. Let's go back to Etsy. Yeah, Etsy. So Etsy's storing my data right now. If you guys see this huge red flag, so you'd have to go in and clear your cache because you got to be careful. If Etsy's recently viewed, Etsy's still storing this data for me. So when I go and type in family ornament, I'm gonna get skewed results. Like Etsy's gonna be trying to show me that. So you gotta be really careful with checking rank. But I'm gonna ignore those two listings right now and see. I want to grow old with you. Our first Christmas as family of 3. The day we became us. So to me, family ornament is just, it's not, I would conserve and ration my keyword here, and I would not deploy it on this one. I just automatically know I would rather not do that because there's going to be so many other times where I could use that where I'd be more relevant. So that's an example of one where I'd be really cautious with. So when you're looking at competitor terms, make sure they're actually ranked for it first and foremost, and don't just blindly use a term because it has a lot of search volume and they've made sales. It does not mean they've made sales through that specific term. So I'm not going to waste you guys' time with this too much here. So we're going to bounce back over. So anyways, let's keep this train moving along. So did you guys get some value out of the titles and text? Again, when I do it live, it's kind of a little bit clunky, but hopefully you guys got some good value out of that. Perfect. Love to hear it. All right, so let's go back over here. And we're going to start sharing this bad boy again. Let's go present and boom. Okay, and let's continue on. All right, so with this being said, we're going to talk about variations setup first and foremost. So we got to talk about on Etsy first, and then we're going to move this over to ICP. So this is actually making your listing fully. So variation setup. So When you're in your actual Etsy listing, exactly where we just were when we're working on it, underneath the pricing and inventory tab, you scroll down, you'll get to your variations. Now, I'm going to show you this for two reasons. One, if you have design variations, this is where you plug it in. And two, if you have a low display price, you have to use variations as well to get that low display price. So you'll go to the variations on your listing, click add variations. And you always want to create your own because you can come up with a much better way of naming what this variation is than Etsy will. So create your own. In this example, I did choose your design, and I'm doing it as an example. I don't actually have these designs, but let's say, for example, you did choose your design and you had a hedgehog variation, you had a penguin variation, you had a reindeer variation. Those are your designs. And then maybe you had a blank, which is for your low display price. So once you've named what your variation is, you can then go in and put in your options. So I have hedgehogs, penguins, reindeer, and blank. Now, if I continue through here, once I've saved that, you can see up here I got my variation saved. Below that is my, I have to toggle on two things. Number one is I need to toggle on prices vary. And number two is I need to toggle on SKUs vary. If I don't have these two turned on, then I won't be able to get my low display price, and I won't be able to assign SKUs if I wanted to assign different design files in ICP. So I need to toggle both of those on here. Once I've toggled them on and I've applied that, now I'll have the ability to edit my variations in this manner. So now I have my SKUs column and I have my pricing column. So in this case, I just plugged in $12.99 for these price points. But remember, if you're running a 24-hour sale, you have to account for the price difference with your sale. So your sale would get you down to $12.99, but you're going to have to price higher. Let's say if you're on a 50% off sale, you're going to have to be a 2x level in pricing in order to get after the 50% down to $12.99. So just remember that. And then in this case, these are all $12.99. And then my blank variation is my offer tactic in this example is $8.99. So that's how I'm getting my low display price. And because I have other design variations, it kind of fits in a little bit more naturally. Now I've named my SKUs hedgehogs 1, penguins 1, and reindeer 1. So that's my unique SKU. One thing I want to note is if you use a SKU one time anywhere on Etsy and you plug it into ICP somewhere, that SKU will now be connected and you will not be able to reuse that exact match SKU. It'll actually not be visible for you because we want you to, let's say you did have listings where you have multiple variations and you already connected your reindeer variation, but your reindeer variation maybe lands on like 4 different listings. Well, in that case, you only have to link it up once. So as soon as you use this SKU one time, which I'll show you here in a second, you won't be able to see it again and you won't need to use it again. And it will fetch based on how you set up ICP, which we'll look at here in a second. Okay, so still on the Etsy side here, shipping profile setup. As you scroll further down, you can go into your shipping settings and go to edit shipping profile right on your listing. Now, this one I just did ornament shipping example for my profile name for you guys. The zip code should have changed that. It's 99217, just so you guys know, which is on ICP, but that's our fulfillment center, 99217. And then, sorry, blanking on my, look at ICP. We can look at the catalog in a second. I'm blanking on my own zip code. Sorry, guys. With the processing time, I have it to 1 to 2 days right now. You can adjust this accordingly. With ornaments, 1 to 2 days is good. You can move it to 1 to 3 days if you want to be a little bit more comfortable with your approval time for your design files or for your actual order approvals. Because again, production does not start until you've actually approved your order. So just a heads up on that. If you keep scrolling down, I have first class chosen 1 to 5 days, and I've chosen fixed price versus calculated shipping. So I've fixed price in. I've done $5.99 for this example with $2.99 per additional item. So that's my actual shipping structure there. Now, if I continue scrolling down on this, you have your ability to add in upgrades. Now, we offer priority mail at ICP, so you can do that. Now, I typed this in. This is where you can kind of give yourself a little edge with things like this. I typed in priority mail, and then I put in bold, fast delivery. So especially during the Christmas season when people are looking, if you just had it say like priority mail right there, priority mail, fast delivery can just feel a little bit better for a buyer. So there's little hacks you can do all throughout your listing to give yourself an edge. So I have that there. And then the shipping service is 1 to 3 business days. That is our priority mail offer. Now, last thing I'll note on this is when you add in any cost to your shipping upgrades on Etsy, it adds to whatever your base price was. So in this case, my base price was $5.99. And when I did my upgrade, that upgrade is now an additional $5.99. So it adds it together. So don't make the mistake and do like $11.98 here, because it will add $5.99 and $11.98. So I'm doing $5.99 plus $5.99, which is the cost for the shipping upgrade, so that my margins are the same there, and we're good to go. So just note that those two numbers will stack together, and always go check if you need to. Go into a different browser where you're not logged into your Etsy store, copy your whole listing URL, paste it in there, add it to your cart, and just double check that your profile is set up right if a buyer does choose 1 unit, 2 units, and so on, just so you have some clarity on that. Okay, so moving over to the ICP side. So I was on Etsy, setting up variations, setting up your profile, all that good stuff. So with this being said, when you're going to set up your product and your SKUs potentially here as well, you got to start out in the catalog. So when you're in the catalog, you'll scroll down and you'll choose the 3-inch ceramic ornament. When you're on that, step number 1 is to name your product. Whatever your naming convention is, stick with it. Make sure it's set for the long haul. Don't make it some weird names where you get lost when you're 3 product types in and hundreds of products in. Make sure you have a good naming convention to start. So in this case, I just put First Christmas as Grandparents Ornament. Step 2, this is where you can access that design template that we talked about yesterday. So you can go in and access the design template, which will bring you over to Canva. In Canva, you have the ability to do your design there. So like in this case, we have Jesse G's design in Canva, and I have this arrow pointing up to the URL. The reason why I have this is because in this example, I'm showing you how to attach your design file specifically over to ICP. So you want to copy that entire URL once your design is ready. And you're going to go back to step 3, and you're going to just paste that URL in. So what this does is it allows you, when you have an order placed on this specific item that you're linking up right now, that design file will be accessible for you to make edits on for the personalization and add it right to your order, just to simplify some things and finding your files, especially during the busy season. With that being said, you got to download your file for step number 4. I have it set with, I removed, if you notice, look, I removed the entire background because I'm going to use this for the mockup generator to create my thumbnail in step 4. So I removed the gray. I don't have anything else besides my design, but it's sitting exactly where I had it placed on my template. I've selected a transparent background. I've left the size exactly the same, and I've downloaded that specific page. Now, once you've downloaded that, you can go to step number 4, and you can click on the dotted line area where it says upload graphic design and create thumbnail. So you can click on that. Once you've clicked there, you will then you'll upload your artwork, which I uploaded in here, and you get a view of exactly how it's going to look on the right-hand side, which is why you got to follow the template and make sure everything's good to go. Once that is done, you're going to go to step number 5, which is where you're going to link it up to the platform. So link your product to Etsy right there. And when you click on that button, you're going to get a pop-up. You have your active, your inactive, and your draft listings. If for any reason these are not showing, click on the Resync Active Products button. If they're still not showing, go ahead and go back, log out, close out of your browser, open your browser back up, log back in, and you can resync, and typically speaking, it'll be resolved. In this case, it's visible right here. First Christmas as Grandparents Ornament. That is my Etsy listing, so I'll select that. Once I've selected that, I can see my SKUs. Because I don't have these SKUs anywhere else inside of ICP, they're all going to be available for me to assign. So this is pulling straight from Etsy. I don't have my hedgehogs, penguin, reindeer, or my blank ornament assigned anywhere. But as soon as I assign it once, I will not need to assign it again. In the case of the blank ornament, like I could have a specific file attached to this one and get it set up and then use that same SKU on all my listings if I did have a blank ornament, and I don't have to reconnect anything every single time. It will populate with that specific design file, which would be literally a blank file, which you don't have to really worry about that one getting ordered too often. With that being said, sorry, I'm going rapid fire because I want to keep things moving along. With that being said, I wouldn't personally, with ornaments, I don't think there's a need for you to assign different files or different designs to individual SKUs unless you're using Hello Custom. So if you're using Hello Custom, you'll need to utilize these SKUs and set up accordingly. If you're not, I would personally store any of my design variations in the same Canva file so I could access, in this case, my hedgehogs, my penguins, my reindeer, right in the same file. So it'd be like page like 1, 2, 3. That way I can just make edits through the same URL, and it's simple. That's how I would recommend doing it. So if I was going that route, I would just click on link product right there. So I'd skip that. If I want to specifically either use Hello Custom, or I'm like, hey, I want to put a specific URL or a specific design file attached to my SKU, you can select the SKU and you can either add a finalized graphic, you can add in a URL, or you can assign it to Hello Custom. So it's really up to you with that. But again, in my case, I would just say, hey, let's just link the product and keep everything in one Canva file for this specific item. So hopefully that makes sense there. Okay, and then once you have finished step 5, you're going to see it's going to say manage Etsy listing now in green, which means you're good to go. And you're going to get this notification up here that says, please create product to link your Etsy product right here. So it's just letting you know, hey, you need to actually click on the add to products there. It's not actually created yet. So if you click on add to products, you will then be good to go. And it will be in your products tab. So you got to make sure you add it to your products once you're finished with step 5. And now you can manage it in there. So now your listing is set up. It's connected to your actual product on Etsy. You've assigned your design file and you are ready to go. Now, if an order is placed against your item, if you're a new seller, you haven't maybe seen this before, on the on hold side of things, you can see all of the important information. Now, this is a manual order I submitted, so it's the same view, but there's no, you can see there's not an Etsy icon here. If it's from Etsy, you'd pull it in and you would see it, same view though. So in here, you're able to manage what you need. So this edit graphic button takes me straight to the Canva file in this case, because I set it up with a Canva file. It's going to take me right to that specific design where I can leverage whatever the customer chose for variations and personalization information. I can utilize that to make changes on my actual design for to say, you know, first Christmas as grandparents, maybe it says Mimi and Papa, and it says Evelyn for the baby's names, throwing out random names. I can swap all that out, make sure it's good, download, and I can upload that right onto the order. And then if I want to check the mockup, I can click on the 3 dots and go to mockup preview, and I can actually double check that graphics, right? If I need to size it up, size it down, I can do that there. And when I've submitted that, it will reroute the finalized graphic from what you've done there. You can also duplicate items, add items, etc., change shipping information, all right on the order. So I just want to give you guys context with that if you haven't seen this prior. So